that the past 30 years have been one of betrayal of promises and extremely regressive policies in agriculture. Now, you look at the fact that the Swaminathan Commission gave a series, 5 reports, which were very, very important for Indian agriculture, but these were not discussed even 1 hour or there was not even 1 day's dedicated discussion in Parliament. Now, governments came to power promising to implement the Swaminathan report. The 2014 Modi government won the election promising to implement the Swaminathan report, especially its main recommendations of MSP being equal to cost of production plus 50% within 12 months of coming to power. Instead of which, on coming to power, within the first month or so, they submitted an affidavit in the Supreme Court saying it cannot be done. What they had promised to the people of India, to the voters, to the electorate, 1 month later they go and tell the Supreme Court it cannot be done because it will distort market prices. So the history is also the history of betrayal of promises made to farmers and promises made on government reports. The Swaminathan Commission is an official report. It is actually the National Commission of Farmers set up by the government of India. So this was one major thing on the agriculture front. Second, the condition, making promises like doubling of income of farmers in 5 years' time. Not only did the income not double, not only did the income not double, it actually declined in cultivation. The National Sample Survey looks at agriculture income in 3 ways. Income from cultivation, income from wage labor, because many farmers also do wage labor, and income from livestock rearing. Income from wage labor has gone up, which is a sign of distress, not of improvement. It means more and more farmers are going and doing wage labor to survive. And second, livestock rearing, it went up, but in actual agriculture, cultivation, the National Sample Survey report shows us that income from cultivation has actually declined, as against this promise of doubling income in 5 years. Even if you double the income in 5 years, what does it mean if the cost of production goes up 5 times? So these are the kind of issues that one has to tackle with it. Also, repeatedly, I think that one of the greatest events in our history as an independent nation was the farmers' agitation at the gates of Delhi. This was the single largest peaceful democratic protest organized at the height of the pandemic. And it made the government withdraw the laws. So that was an extraordinary victory. However, it removes the laws, but it doesn't solve the crisis. Secondly, the agrarian crisis is much larger than just agriculture. 20 years ago, I started using the word, first we spoke of agricultural crisis, farming crisis. Then we spoke of agrarian crisis, which represents many non-farmer sections also. According to me, 10 years ago, I started speaking of societal crisis because it was encompassing all sections of society. Today, I say that what we called an agrarian crisis is a civilizational crisis, because the largest body of small farmers in the planet is fighting for their existence, for their survival, and your civilization in India is based on small farm landholdings. That's who we are as a civilization, and workers. So this is the situation of the crisis. The farm suicide figures They keep going up, but the computation of those figures has become a racket. It has become a fraud. After 2014, already there were errors in the farm suicide data. They excluded many people. Those were errors of omission. From 2014, we introduced errors of commission. Yeah, we brought in new definitions, new ways, new methodologies. The result now is data after 2014 cannot be compared to the data 19 years previous. But the situation is really bad. Also remember that agrarian crisis is not just suicide. For every farmer who commits suicide, there are a million who are in a equally bad position who have not taken that way out. But so these are some, and then income, as you've seen, from agriculture has fallen. The farmers have not got any of the promises made to them by political parties in their manifestos, and they had to finally go and force the government to withdraw those laws. And I say that those laws are not only about farming, they are about society in large, because they affect every citizen of the country, because the government of India in those laws has removed the right to seek court redressal. It removes the right of, it removes Article 32 of the Constitution promises every citizen the right to legal remedy. But instead the laws say that you cannot approach the courts. You only have to go to an appellate tribunal. You cannot approach the courts. It specifically, they barred the jurisdiction of the civil courts. So with all these kind of problems, one has to make a difference. One has to think about, now the Swaminathan Commission was an official commission killed by two governments, the UPA and then the NDA. Second, the Supreme Court formed its own commission or committee, which it killed itself without even releasing its report. The thinking amongst a lot of people concerned about the crisis is that there should be a commission to look at Indian agriculture that is not accountable to government, not accountable to bureaucracy, not accountable to judiciary, but accountable to farmers, workers and laborers. August 16th, this year, many of us met in Delhi, and you saw the formation of the Kisan Mazdoor Commission. Now this commission is not made up of bureaucrats and experts. It's not made up of bureaucrats and supposed experts. The members of the commission are actually representatives of farmers, laborers, Mahila farmers, Dalit farmers, Adivasi farmers. Forestry and fisheries are also represented. Nomadic pastoralists are sitting on the commission. So it's a very, very representative, diverse commission that is accountable to the agrarian communities.
What need to be done?
Yeah, and that is what the commission is studying. What are the policies that, going by, look at what, including in some cases it will update the Swaminathan Commission, but that's not the only thing. It's going to look at a vision of Indian agriculture the next 30-40 years from the point of view of the farmer, the laborer, the weaver, the potter, the artisan, the laborers, from that point of view. Main points is that the Kisan Andolan in Delhi, the Kisan agitation at Delhi, was an incredible lesson to the whole country. They thought they didn't solve the agrarian crisis, but they forced the taking back of the laws, and they showed the rest of us the meaning of the word resistance. That is the first thing. Second is that the condition of farmers and the agrarian crisis continued to deepen. Because after all, the Kisan Andolan was about the farm laws. It was not about the overall, it reduced the pressure. but the overall farm crisis is much larger. So what should all sections of society, as I believe it is now past a societal crisis, what should we all be doing about it? And what was done in the past, what were the betrayals, that was what, like the killing of the Swaminathan Commission report, the setting up of a worthless Supreme Court committee, these and the official committees and bureaucrats, the Dalwai Commission or what committee or whatever they call it, all this is a way of evading actually confronting the problems that farmers are facing. So that's what I was talking about. And the birth of a new platform, it's not a union, it's not an organization, called the Kisan Mazdoor Commission, which is going to look at every agroecological zone of India and try coming up with solutions from the farmers and the laborers, and thereby advocate particular kinds of policies that evolve from its work. I think that there is a difference, and I think that see, in the India formation, there are many parties that have actually, there are parties and political forces that have stood by the farmers, that have led farmer struggles. That itself makes a difference, right? The other thing is that I think for the first time, the opposition is appearing to function as an opposition, like they did in the last parliament session. So I think there is differences. I think there are, and I think that the next election or whatever, it's going to see a complete geographical division of the country, where some states will not touch the ruling formation. That's what I think is going to happen. Whereas I believe India, the formation, win or lose, it will have representation in every part of the country. Because it's really, what we call the NDA is really suddenly rediscovered and exhumed. There were no NDA party. Where is the Akali Dal? Where is the Shiv Sena, the two oldest allies of the BJP? They're no longer there. The NDA for all practical purposes was dead, but you bring 34 parties together to show that there's a difference. We have more than India. But how many of those 34 parties, apart from BJP, have representation in parliament? How many of them are ruling a state government? You just see that and you know. I think that there is a very serious contestation coming up, a very serious opposition in formation. What happens after that? Elections are elections. Neither you nor I is going to give any written prediction that this only will happen. But I think the trend is healthy.